1 second. Right, let's try again. My name is Hannah, and this is the first episode of Creative Anarchy. Potentially the last one, I'm not sure. We'll have a go and see how this kind of goes. Basically, the reason I'm doing this is I should not have spinny chairs. Okay, give me 1 second again. Alright, so I'm back. I have got a normal non-spinny chair, which is probably a good idea because I'm clearly incapable of sitting like a normal human being. So therefore spinny chairs are not a look for me. Anyways, I am Hannah and this is the Creative Anarchy podcast. You can find me on Instagram under Hannah Simeon. I am on Ravelry, but I don't really use it, so fuck that. But basically the reason I'm doing this is because first of all, it's kind of a good motivation for me to kind of force myself to actually do some creative things so that I can actually show them on a podcast. And secondly, when I went to uni, I did filmmaking and I had so much fun doing it, but kind of made the decision that I didn't actually want to try to focus on it as a career. I missed the kind of creative aspect of it, the filming, the editing, all of that stuff. So I kind of started thinking a few months ago that I'd really like to get a camera again, so that I could kind of get back into filming and editing and all of that stuff, just for fun. So here I am. That being said, I have a camera, I have a really bad tripod, and I have got 2 floor lamps. So my equipment isn't the best. I would really like to get a microphone and some better lighting because this is interesting. Am I actually filming? Let me double check that. I am filming, don't worry. There's no like little front light type thing. I'm originally from Sweden. I moved to London with my family 8.5 years ago now, and then we all moved a bit further south. So it's quite good because close to London, not close enough that you can't, see the stars. So living in the countryside, it's beautiful around here. It's actually a really nice day, so I can't wait to get out. Live here with my boyfriend and my cat. It's my cat. I've had her for a long time. She's 17 and a half, but my boyfriend is a very loving stepdad, and he insists that she's his cat. And she loves him, so I'm fine with that. That being said, I feel like we should introduce you to the glory of Cleopatra. Let's see if I can find her. I found her. She's not a big fan of being carried, so she's quite upset with me. Plus she was sleeping, so not impressed. But you're definitely a lap cat, aren't you? Debbie. She's the best. I'm a genius. I was going to start by talking about what I'm wearing, but I've got a cat on my lap now. Oh, okay, she's on her way. I'm going to just carry her back to where I find her. Alright, she's back. She's happy, I think. Alright, so what I'm wearing. This is the Eowyn blouse by Fabel Knitwear. I knit it in Lain Amouree. It's French. That's so this one. And it is a 75 merino wool, 20% nylon, 5% stellina, gold stellina. And this is the colourway. It is absolutely beautiful. So I don't have a windy machine type situation thing, unfortunately. I probably should, because this takes bloody forever and it's really fucking boring. But I'm one of those people who are like, oh yeah, I really need to buy that thing. I should probably get around to ordering one. And then I don't, because I can't be bothered doing it. And then I find myself having to wind up more yarn. And I go, I really should have done that. But for some reason I never do. And it's really fucking stupid, but that's me. It's a lovely yarn and it's so soft and I love it so much. But yes, this is the Eowyn blouse. Let me try to kind of show you what it looks like. Yeah, so my problem is I don't have a front facing camera. My screen kind of flips up at the back, but that's it. Anyways, this is the Eowyn blouse. It's got a little square neckline. It's cropped. It's got little puff sleeves right there. Hopefully you can see them. Alright, that didn't quite work out, but I think you'll probably see it better as this. So it's a really easy pattern. It's knit bottom up. So it's just kind of 1 by 1 rib to start with. You kind of increase on the sides, raglan sleeves, yeah, puff shoulders. I have knit 3 of the Fabel knitwear designs now, and they're really nice. I wear a lot of kind of high-waisted trousers and skirts and all of that stuff, so it's quite difficult for me to find tops that kind of work with my wardrobe, so that's the kind of best part about knitting, because I can just make it myself. But yeah, so the original pattern has got little ruffles as well along the sleeves. I'm not a ruffly kind of gal, so I decided not to put them on there. I kind of started knitting them and then I went, well, first of all I was really annoyed because it was just not working out and it was just fiddly and not fun, and then secondly I kind of started going, but why am I doing this? I'm just going to get really annoyed at the ruffles, so I decided to just ditch them. Really happy with it. I'm in love with the gold kind of shimmer as well. I had a look at the video and yeah, it shows up a lot in the video with all the lights and everything here, which is quite fun. But yeah, this is the Eowyn blouse by Fabel knitwear. Alright, so what I'm working on at the moment. So actually, I've recently started getting into hand dyeing my own yarn as well. Part of this reason is, one, I get insanely obsessed about learning new kind of techniques and crafts and things like that. So every few years I find something new that I just have to learn how to do. Before this, I think it was, yeah, it would have been millinery, so I was obsessively making hats for a while. Problem being now I am swimming in hats and I don't really know what to do with them, so that's great. But anyways, the latest one is hand dyeing yarn. Oh yeah, and the other reason why why I want to dye my own yarn is because I love all the beautiful kind of skeins I see flying around from indie dyers and all of that stuff. I just can't motivate the costs, so I'm dyeing yarn myself instead, and it's so much fun. That's definitely a bonus. My boyfriend is less than impressed because the kitchen smells like shit when I'm doing it, but whatever, he'll be fine with it. And actually he has to be fine with it because this is my current project. So my first one that I kind of dyed myself, basically what happened was I'd ordered some plain skeins, and then I'd ordered a bunch of acid dyes and all of that stuff. Problem being, I ordered them before a bank holiday weekend. They were supposed to come before the bank holiday weekend and then they didn't, and then after the bank holiday they still didn't appear, and I got really annoyed. So I just kind of started going through my fabric dyeing stash and used some random bits and bobs just because I wanted to try to dye something, and ended up with this. So it's a kind of tealy, kind of greeny blue variegated type ish yarn, and after I kind of finished it, my my boyfriend kept looking at it and being like, oh, it's a really nice colour, Hannah. It's a really nice colour. I really like that yarn that you dyed. I really like that colour. It's my sister used to have a beanie in that colour, which was really, really nice. Like, do you want a beanie in the yarn I just dyed? So yeah. It's in progress. So here we go. I am knitting it on very, very tiny needles because I hate magic loop with a passion. It's so annoying. So rather than going magic loop, I decided to go with my my little tiny sleeve needles, which it works. It just looks like I'm making a tiny, tiny hat. It's not actually tiny, it just looks tiny. So I'm just going for a very like simple hat. I had a look on Ravelry and found the Hipster Hat by PetiteKnit, I think it is. Yeah, the Hipster Hat by PetiteKnit. A few weeks ago I ran out of wool and I just kind of tried to improvise a pattern with stuff I already had, and it was an absolute disaster. So I decided I needed to to follow a pattern this time. So yeah, it's just a kind of double rib, keep going, and then you've got some decreases along the rib, so you've got one rib going, yeah, one line of rib kind of going straight up with the decreases going on either side. But yeah, I've got a ways to go, but I'm sure I'll get there soon. It's quite nice because you just kind of, you just knit and knit and knit, and you don't really have to think about anything for most of the knits, so it's quite nice. So hopefully soon enough I'll have a happy boyfriend. He's got a nice hat just in time for summer, because that's how I roll. Anyways, so God, what else have I got here? Yeah. Also just wanted to show you my project bag. I've been carrying all of my knitting in just random like tote bags and random shit basically, and it's been very disorganised and very stressful. So I decided a couple of weeks ago that I needed a project bag, and also something to organise my needles in, mainly that because they were just like, I couldn't be bothered going to a fabric shop or anything. I have quite a lot of stashed fabric lying around. They're all in here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 big boxes filled to the brim with fabric. I am not allowed to buy fabric just for a project bag. So what I did was use the leftover fabric from our curtains, which is very confusing because I keep thinking that it's a cushion, because it just looks like it should be a cushion because it matches all of our cushions on our sofa. But anyways, this is what it looks like. Very plain, very basic. It's just kind of like that. Zipper on the top. There we go. It's got a little pocket in the inside, lined in black because more leftover fabric. So it's nothing exciting, but it does the job, and that's really kind of what I needed. But the best part is my little needle case that I made. So I'll be honest, I really wanted to buy a Blouse knitwear needle case. They look amazing. Much more beautiful than this one, but basically every single time that she had a shop update I was either broke or yeah, they sold out instantly basically. So after a few months I just went, you know what, I'll just have to make something myself. And it's kind of inspired by hers, I'll be honest. So if I were you, instead of making a half-assed shit version yourself, you could just go and buy one, if you're a bit more patient than I am, and less broke. So yeah, this is my needle case. There we go. So there's plenty of room here. So I've got my little gauge thing, I've got some snips, stitch markers, my interchangeable needle things, my regular circular needles. I can go back in there. I haven't got that many of the plain ones, just because the interchangeable ones are so practical, so I don't really use them. And then my sleeve ones right at the back. They're so cute. I use the Knit Pro Symphony needles, because first of all, I really like wooden needles. I'm not a big fan of metal at all. And also they're just so pretty. I love the kind of chevron, kind of different wooden colours types of things. It just makes me happy. So that's what I'm using. And yeah, and then in between everything you've got little tiny sections for my interchangeable needles, just like that. You can't really see them when they're in there, but they are there, I promise. But yeah, this has been an absolute lifesaver. And this entire thing is made out of scrap material as well, obviously, since it matches my bag, and that was made out of scrap material. But yeah, even I had some leather lying around as well. Yeah, the reason why I have leather just lying around is just both because I cosplay as well. Not as much as I used to, just because adult life kind of gets in the way quite often, and also I'm a very introverted person, and going to Comic Cons is getting increasingly more difficult the older I get, because there's just a lot of people everywhere, and I find it quite stressful. But yeah, I still do it for fun. I'll talk about it a bit more in a second, when we get to kind of the sewing related things. But yeah, that's my current project, and also my project bag and needle case. Let's shove that all back in there. That can just go in there, because why not have an extra ball of yarn? Right, so I do also have some yarn that I dyed recently that I wanted to show you guys. You guys, there's probably like one person watching this, but whatever. So when I did finally get my acid dyes, I went absolutely bananas, and it was great. So this is what I came up with. I made two of them. So they're a kind of, there's a kind of, I'd call it like a raspberry tone type situation going here. A nice, fuck knows what colour that is. It's a purple. And then there's kind of like steely blue grey. So I have no clue what this is going to knit up as. Let's show you a bit closer. I'm actually really excited about actually getting knitting on this, because I think it'll look really interesting. I am thinking about maybe knitting a Tegna out of it by Caitlin Hunter. I'm sure if you're like me and you've been watching any podcasts, knitting podcasts recently, you'll know what a Tegna is, because everyone's knitting one, and it's a really, really nice top, and I think it'll be really nice for summer. Yeah, I think that's all the knitting that I wanted to talk about this episode. Because I do both knit and sew, so I figured I'll do a bit of both. So let's move on to the sewing. I haven't been... I tend to do more knitting because I like sitting on the sofa and watching TV shows, and I can't really do that with sewing. But I do still sew a lot. I have been sewing since forever, basically. Let's see. So plans. I kind of want to, so basically a few months ago I was going through charity shops and all that stuff, and obviously when you go to a charity shop you have to go through all the tiny little corner that's got, you know, the handful of patterns from like the 80s that nobody wants, but sometimes you come across some gems. So these are the ones that I picked up last time, and I'm thinking I do have some really nice kind of 60s flowery type situation fabric that I bought in Japan like 5 or 6 years ago. And I went, I am going to make something out of this straight away as soon as I get home, because I have too much fabric and I'm not allowed to buy fabric just for the sake of buying it. And because I know exactly what I'm making, I will definitely do this. Haven't we had this one before? Anyways, I think, touch wood, that I'm actually going to do something now. So I'm kind of interested in making this. I had a look the other day as well and made sure that all the pattern pieces were actually in here, and it turns out I've ended up with an extra like 3 or 4 random pattern pieces from other patterns, but I do have every single one that I need. So I'm thinking about doing the UC right there. But yeah, it's really cute. I really like that kind of 60s A-line dress. It's really comfortable, it's just nice, so might make one of those. Another 2 patterns that I don't really have plans for at the moment, but that I picked up and I just wanted to show you guys. So I've got this one, also really cute, 60s, and this one. I used to hate flares, but they've grown on me. I've got some really nice mustard ones that are mildly outrageous, and I love them. So I'd be up for making some more. So we'll see if that happens. I don't really have any fabric that I feel could work for that, so I probably shouldn't be buying more fabric unless I'm definitely making it. But yeah, another plan I do have is, which I do actually need to buy fabric for, but it's a really simple construction, and I really want to make it, so touch wood again. I should be able to get that finished fairly quickly. So don't have a pattern for it. It would just be kind of at the waist, gathered black skirt, kind of past knee length, buttons at the front and big pockets. Very basic construction, which I am more than capable of figuring out myself, since I went to school 3 years doing shit like that, so if I can't do that, I've got issues. Actually, most of the time I only use sewing patterns because I'm lazy rather than not being capable of doing it. I just hate pattern drafting, but oh well. But yeah, I'm actually heading out to a fabric shop in the afternoon, and I'll see if they've got anything, but I will limit my purchases, I promise. Work in progress. So I mentioned the cosplay aspect earlier, that I don't really do a lot, but I still do it. So I have been, it's about a year and a half ago, something like that, I started working on an Arya Stark cosplay from Game of Thrones. I love Arya. We've only got 1 episode left now of the final season of Game of Thrones. I love her so much. But yeah, so I started on a cosplay from the season 7 of Game of Thrones, and it was a bit of a rush job. Fabric's perfect, love it so much, but it was a rush job and I felt really uncomfortable wearing it to Comic-Con, and it's like some things are amazing, like I love the belt that I made, it's looking really good, but it's just the fit wasn't really right. I looked just kind of shapeless. It wasn't a good look. I'll try to pop in a photo maybe here and I'll see if I can figure it out. It's just not a good look. I need a new wig and all that stuff, but I started kind of reworking on it a bit a few weeks ago, which included having to dye the fabric a bit more and change the fit, get a bit sturdier and so on and so forth. This is what it looks like at the moment. This is pretty much done now, but it needs new eyelets because they all fell out when I was dyeing it. Well, not all of them, but you can see here, there. Some of them fell out. So what I did, they originally had a wool lining, and then I decided to re-dye the outer fabric with the wool lining still there, and because it's a synthetic outer fabric, it needed to have a very high temperature, so the wool lining obviously shrunk. So I've had to change the inner lining, and I actually found a really nice matching lining at IKEA of all places, so that's what this looks like. I'm really happy with it. It gives a nice structure as well for the outer fabric, because the outer fabric is actually jersey. But I didn't want to, so the original Aria kind of cosplay or costume has got kind of, it's almost like a quilted kind of fabric. But I really couldn't be arsed with doing that, and a friend of mine managed to find this fabric. It was bright white to begin with, so I've had to do a lot of work, but it's already got the kind of texture there. So yeah, that's kind of why I even started making this cosplay, because I wouldn't have bothered otherwise, because I'm a sucker for good fabrics. But yeah, and then you've got little leather details here that I bought a second-hand coat off of eBay because I didn't want to buy just new leather for bits like this. It's ridiculous. But yeah, that's what this looks like. So I'm going to try to focus on kind of making sure that that's updated and looks good, and hopefully I'll get some photos out of it. We'll see how it goes, but I'm really excited to kind of finish that. Just need to get my arse into gear. The problem at the moment is that the sewing room slash activities room slash our entire area is just an absolute fucking mess. And we need to kind of get it organised. This is the problem of having two creative people with two very different outlets. So my boyfriend is actually making Aria's dagger right over there, and there's just tools and wood and just shit everywhere, while I've got fabric and yarn and stuff everywhere. It's not ideal. And also we used to have a bookcase just next to this one, and that one's gone into the bedroom to store shoes, and some things are moved into the living room, but we still have things that need to be stored in here, so there's just shit on the floor as well. It's just going really well, but you know, we're very bad adults. We tend to start things and then not finish them. Trying to think if there's anything more that I wanted to mention. I don't think so. Yeah, so I'll try to get this edited up, and we'll see if I make another episode. It's been quite fun filming this, so that's definitely a bonus. But yeah, I think that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching, if you have been watching, because that's a miracle in itself. I don't really know who's going to end up watching this, but thank you very much if you did, and if you managed to make it this far. So yeah, thank you very much, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. Oh no. Super cat. Oh no. I forgot a very important part of the knitting. So I decided to knit my cat a superhero cape, as you do. There we go.